The gameplay.
Just the game itself has not aged gracefully.
It's a story that
it has and hasn't. In some ways.
It's not even a great story.
I like the story.
I mean, I guess it's okay. I just think it's a little bit, a fucking lot of it overrated, to be honest. I mean, it's just not. I don't know. I mean, I understand why people look at it, and at that time where it came out, when
it came out, it's considered one of the most expensive video games out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great. I mean, when it came out, it was great, but it's not aged nice, if it makes any sense. I mean,
I agree. Well, so look, one of the things is that it came out on a Dreamcast, and the Dreamcast only had one analog stick, so the controls are clunky. The translation is notoriously bad, which makes it great at the same time, because I'm looking for sailors and like this one guy who's trying to sound Jamaican but winds up sounding Indian instead. Like it's bad, but at the same time it's like good in all the best ways, because it's open world. You can walk around this city and talk to random people, and a lot of them are dickheads. You can train in random parking lots just to get better at skills. So it's terribly bad in some ways, but it's also just like so great in some of the great ways that inspired way better games than what it is right now. So I think like if you never played it as a kid, then you're probably never going to enjoy it. But if it's someone like you played the game and you understand like the faults of the game, then like for me, I'm going to get this 1 and 2 port. But like I wouldn't recommend it to someone who hasn't played it before, because it feels, well, I won't say that because I don't know how it feels now, because they might have updated the controls a little bit.
Yeah,
but I definitely agree with you in some ways that it is a bad game, but at the same time I love it because it's also a great game.
I mean,
so wait a minute. So what were you looking for?
Shenmue 1 and 2.
No. What were you looking for in the game? You were looking for
sailors.
Sailors.
No,
and that was not even in the game. That was just Friday night.
Yeah. Do you know the story? Have you played the game?
I've played okay. Back when the Dreamcast first came out, I had a friend who loved the Dreamcast, loved it. He was all like, "Oh, this game is the best," and he was always raving about this game, Shenmue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he brought it over and he started playing it, and I watched him. I probably like 2 hours worth of gameplay, and I think all we did is walked around the city. I don't think we ever did anything for 2 hours. I don't even know what the hell. There's like nothing happened in the game for 2 hours, and I'm like, so this is what is exciting? I'm like, here, let me show you the PlayStation 2, and let me show you Final Fantasy X, and then there you go. Like, there's no comparison to me.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can't compare the two games. Final Fantasy X was amazing.
Yeah, no, I totally disagree. I didn't care for 10.
Oh man,
10 is one of the best Final Fantasies, to be honest.
Yeah, no, 10 was great. Well,
nah,
let me just like real quick get this out of the way so that we can get back to this real fast, and then we'll hop back into Shenmue in this debate. But all right, so, what's going on, guys? It's been a while. My name is a philosopher. This is the Console Explosion live show. In a little bit, we're going to talk about Ready Player One review. So spoilers ahead if you didn't already figure that out. But we also got to talk about a few other nerdy things since it's been a while since we met up. So I've got some of the familiar faces. You should recognize some of them. You should recognize all of them. One of them, you can't see their face right now. But we have Antonio, a.k.a. Gokado Retro Reviews. Awesome guy. We got Jared, the CEO of the Console Explosion. And, of course, we have Tyler, a.k.a. the Video Game Hunter. Right now, we're talking about Shenmue 1, 2, and in the future 3. They're going to be re-releasing 1 and 2 on Xbox One and PS4 in December, I believe, is the release right now. And then we're also talking about like whether it's good or not, and then a couple other games like Street Fighter Anniversary Collection. So that said, we're gonna hop right back into the conversation because it's great to talk about this. So bear with us. So what were you saying? I'm sorry.
So Final Fantasy X was fantastic.
Yes, I agree.
Disagree.
It was really good. Yeah, it's not the best Final Fantasy, but it's really good.
I wouldn't say it's the best, but I say it holds up. Like, you play the HD editions now, it holds up to what it was back then.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not seeing them making remakes of Part 9, and everyone says that one's
obviously it's not the way it is. There's no point to remake it.
Yeah, I've never. Well, why? You have to be able to play it on newer systems.
They
re-released it for the PlayStation Store.
Remake it. They've never given it an HD remake. I don't think it was as popular, but like I feel like 10 was to the PS2 what 7 was to the PS1. because it had beautiful graphics. It also had a great storyline and a great level up system. There wasn't anything wrong with it. If you were already if you already knew the genre of Final Fantasy, then it wasn't probably going to be your favorite, but you definitely like respected it in some sense for the most part. No, but it was also a great introduction for people who hadn't played Final Fantasy in any of the previous ones. In my thoughts.
Talking about overrated right there, right? It's Final Fantasy VII. It's an overrated Final Fantasy. So everyone raves about Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII, it's mediocre Final Fantasy
I would say,
at best.
I think the reason
I
think the reason why everybody raves about Final Fantasy VII is because it was the first forte. I mean, that generation, right? That was the first forte into a Japanese RPG.
Yes.
I mean, it was at that time when Japanese RPGs were blowing it out of the water, and that's usually the first one people dip their toes in before they started playing, more difficult ones.
Yeah.
And this same goes back to Shenmue as well. It's the same thing where, yes, at the time, I agree. It's a fucking probably huge going up in terms of getting cinematics for Final Fantasy, being more expandable game and all that. But nowadays, though, I don't know, dude. Final Fantasy VII, Shenmue, I think they're overrated.
I would agree with well Final Fantasy VII. I definitely agree, even though I love Final Fantasy VII.
I like it. I just don't.
I think
rave about it like so many people do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't either. I like the game. I like the storyline, but I also find a lot of faults in it. I think what it had going for it was, one, it came out in the jam pack, so it had this kind of extra boost because PlayStation used to have these demo packs of different games, and so you got the level up version of all these characters, and you could see what it could do. But also the beautiful cutscenes that it had definitely helped with marketing, because if you look at the commercials, it only showed the cutscenes. It never showed the gameplay in any of the old commercials, all the way up to 10, and probably beyond. It never showed the gameplay because obviously the gameplay wasn't.
Again, in terms of talking about that, exactly that, it's just not aged gracefully either. I mean, you look at those cutscenes right now; they look like hell.
No, actually, when I first saw the cutscenes, when I first played the game, I thought it was laughable. I thought it was hilariously bad because I played 9 first, and I enjoyed 9 very, very much.
9 is so much better than 7, and it's age. You can look at that still, and that one has aged really great.
Yeah,
actually.
But 7, when I first popped it in, I laughed my ass off because I thought the cutscene looked all right. But then when you get off the train, I saw what they really looked like.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I know I don't usually judge graphics, but my God, it's a huge difference from 7 and 9.
I remember I hated 7 for a long time because I felt like I was cheated because I saw these cutscenes, and then you hop off the train and you see Cloud, and I'm just like, this guy is like 8 polygons. What the hell is this?
And the story itself, right? The story itself as well is convoluted. It's just
how's it convoluted? Man. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, it makes super sense. It's just I don't know. Like going back, even a convoluted story like 10, because it's kind of convoluted as well. But so much at the end of the day, it's so much of a contained story. Much better, and it's just honestly, you compare to most Final Fantasies, even 8 has a better story than 7. I don't know.
I never finished 8.
It could be personal thing, personal preferences, but I don't know. The game is just
8 was all right.
The junction system though for gameplay is just not great.
They changed a couple of things like the junctions and
that sucks, to be honest.
I mean, I love the music of 8. I love the opening cutscene of 8.
Oh yeah,
it's like one of my favorites. But for the game itself, I was kind of a bit let down because I went from 9, 7, then 8, and I think 8, in my opinion, is kind of I wouldn't say one of the weakest, but it was one of those I don't think it really holds up.
Yeah, and then you go back to Final Fantasy 13, and it's a fucking hallway.
Oh my God, I was so
fucking hallway.
I was pissed.
Look, I'll show you a map of Final Fantasy.
I was pissed for 13. They took everything I love about Final
Fantasy. Here's a map of Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
There you
basically-
go.
Yeah,
That's the map.
yeah.
Fucking all gay, all fucking. I don't know, man.
It
I
sucks. I like 13. I never beat it though, so I
Neither
can't.
have
say that I didn't like it.
Well, I played on the 360, so I got stuck at the end of disc 3.
See, I agree. Okay, I understand what you guys are saying about the graphics. I got the PlayStation near pretty much at launch. So, I mean, I played the graphical games like of Twisted Metal and Warhawk and, you know, the really shitty, this is our first polygraph.
But they weren't shitty at the time, though, so I will say
They
that.
weren't shitty at the time. Now they're kind of like, well, look at it now. But, you know, Final Fantasy VII was such a upgrade in that sense of what I was playing then. You're saying you went from 9,
Yes.
which was a huge upgrade for the PlayStation 1, back to 7. So you can't really compare the two. You really got to compare what that generation was.
I know.
This was the first time going into 3D, right?
Yep.
So when you think about like 2D wise, that's where games like Final Fantasy 6 and 3, you know, on the Super Nintendo look so good, and like Chrono Trigger and stuff look so good being 2D, this being the first, you know, full-fledged 3D game. I think it was a good start. And I think what sold it for me for liking it so much was the music. The music from the beginning to the end was phenomenal, and that's what
great.
me playing.
The music is actually one of the best overall.
That's pretty
I think it's one of the best CD tracks. It goes, for me, it goes 7 and then 6, which is part 3, and then Chrono Trigger, which isn't even Final Fantasy. But
Chrono Trigger is fantastic, though. Super Nintendo.
We agree though that Final Fantasy 6 is the best Final Fantasy of them all.
I've never played that one.
I played it, but I never finished it because I got stuck at some kind of floating island. I don't remember what part of the game that was in, but I got stuck around there.
Yeah, I'll never say which one is the best, but I'll say that 9 has always been my favorite.
Which one's the best?
I can't say. That's subjective.
Now 9.
What is your opinion then? What do you think is the best?
What do I think is the best? I mean, see, that's the thing is like, what are we basing it off of? Like graphics, gameplay, storyline,
overall, like story, music, gameplay.
Which one, if they were all laid out in front of you, all 16 of them, which one of them would you get a Woody over just looking at it? Which Final Fantasy rubs your boner the best? How about that?
I mean, I'm gonna say 9, obviously, because it's my favorite.
There you go. Well, you like some young.
I like the Tails. Oh, wait a minute. Don't take that the wrong way, Tyler. I'm not referring to you.
I was just going to say, well, you better be careful. Tyler's got a smile on his face.
Yeah, you got to be careful. He's smiling, so it's good now. You can do whatever you want.
Remember, Tyler likes to smack the thighs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What? Oh, which, by the way, I found out they'll be releasing it in the US soon.
Smacking thighs?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I made a second account on my Switch so I can buy a game that was only released. Well, it's gonna be released now in the US soon, but at the time this game was only released in Japan, and it's from one of my favorite series, Senran Kagura. Well, okay, you know, Senran Kagura is like a hack and slash game. Well, this one, it's not a hack and slash. They basically took a mini game from the last game and made it into its own game where you can touch the females whatever you want and slap them whatever you want.
You tenderize those fucking ties, to be honest.
Yeah,
I live streamed it somewhere. Was it the TCX or my?
I think it was the TCX. And remember, boys and girls, it's not rape unless she smiles at you.
Oh Jesus! Anyway, what I was gonna say before all this was that, like, I think one of the things with Shenmue is the music for me too. Like, one. It's kind of the same situation where I watched the progress, like the dev blogs or whatever about the game as it was coming out. So I was following the game. I'm really big into Japanese culture. I like the idea behind the storyline. Long story short, you're trying to avenge your father. He was murdered by somebody, and the guy like got away, and you're like this young martial artist. And so yeah, I liked it. I like this idea that like one, the music was just it sucked me in. The voice acting in English was terrible for the most part.
But it was so terrible, people love it.
Yeah, it was so bad, but like it was so cool at the same time because you there is this growing city. Like I mean, obviously it's kind of stale nowadays, but like when you're playing it for the first time and there's nothing like it, like full size characters, this character that's always writing in his journal and it's updating. So like even if you stop playing the game for a little bit, you can flip through the pages of the journal and catch up. Certain characters develop throughout the storyline, so the personalities change, and they change depending on what you do. Like your what is her name? She's like not abuela. That's Spanish. Like she's like a grandmother type figure. I don't know if they ever actually explain who she is. Yeah, but like if you keep staying out late, then she starts scolding you for staying out late until you until it's so late that you like crash and you have to go to bed. And it was so cool if you played it like when it came out, which I bought it like day one. I'm pretty sure I still have the original like 3 or 4 disc game and a VMU for my Dreamcast. So it definitely has not aged well, but the nostalgia is still there because I played it when it first came out and I love the idea of that. And then you level up your martial arts skills and you have to actually train them and they get better and they evolve if you keep working them out. So it's like while it's not a great game for people who didn't play it like right away or it's just not their cup of tea, it's still such a phenomenal game because it also inspired in so many ways. It was great. It was open world in a limited way. It had this robust city and this town that had personality. It was just so cool. And then part 2 was more of that, but in a different country, a different from Japan to China. So it was really cool. That's my like rant on that game because it is terribly good and also very very great and bad. So it's those are my thoughts on it.
Shimmy was one of those games that people have like 2 separate lists. Like they consider it one of the best games of all time, but they consider it as one of the worst games of all time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have much to say about Shimmy. I only played it through once. I got the game like many years later when it first was originally released.
Mm-hmm.
But when I beat the first game, I didn't want it the sequel on the Xbox. I want to keep it like on the Dreamcast, so I actually imported the European version.
Same here. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, how did you get yours to work though?
Well, I had a Dreamcast that didn't have that because mine was actually a burnt copy, but it still played just fine. But I couldn't import my save files, which was a bummer because that was one of the big things. Like this was one of the first console games that I know of that allowed you to import your save file from your first playthrough to your second. So like all your martial arts skills and some of the choices that you made poured over to this one. Well, but that didn't pan out.
I actually found out I had a GameShark disc, which I found out you can use that to boot up Japanese games or European games. That's how I was able to play my import version. Now, I was listening to a podcast earlier today where someone was praising the game because they had some kind of famous city that was like underground or something that existed a long time ago. I can't remember what it was. But
I don't know.
Well, it's in the game. Apparently, it's not there anymore because they tore it down.
And Shenmue 2?
Yeah, Shenmue 2. There was a famous.
Oh, okay. I might know what you're talking about because there's like an underground fighting scene in that game, which was fight clubs are one of my favorite things. I'm weird, but that was always really cool.
Was it Bloodsports or something? Okay, never mind. But the one thing that actually stood out to me the most about Shenmue 2 was actually the final disc. Was basically, you could say it was a walking simulator where you're just walking with that female that you see early in the first Shenmue game. Well,
you don't see her in the first game at all, but like her image is all over the place and like on DVD or cassette tape covers.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you finally meet her, everything is calm. They're walking, they're having discussion, and for some odd reason, I really enjoyed that scene. And when you finally get to the end of this long walk, they left a huge cliffhanger. And I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen next? And I was like, we're never going to know.
Yeah,
until recently.
Yeah, the last thing I hit on is that in Shenmue 2, like you just said, it was a huge cliffhanger. So everyone who's a fan of Shenmue 1 and 2, there's a sense of a lack of gratification because we didn't get like a good ending. There was no ending to that one because you're still looking for the person that killed your dad. You still don't have all the answers of what the hell is going on. In some ways, you have more questions than answers. So it's like it did this hole in the hearts of Shenmue players.
You know what's even worse than that?
That.
Half-Life. Now that
Ooh.
is a fucking game that let you hang in there. Now that was a cliffhanger, and they can suck balls because at least they are making a lot of money. Just they're not making the fucking game.
But can't count the 2.
What was that?
Or 3. They can't cut the 3.
We can't cut.
They can't count the 3. We have this game.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it funny? They were supposed to come with Half-Life for the Dreamcast, actually, but you can actually burn a copy of the original one.
Yeah, the orange box is supposed to go to there. So speaking of which, I have a question for you. Now we're talking about new games and games that came out or that are coming out. We were talking about Street Fighter before the podcast started, but one thing about Street Fighter got me thinking. Obviously, Street Fighter 5 because I shit all over it in every podcast. But Tavian, you bought Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
When it didn't have everything, and I shit all over you for it because I was like, "That's dumb. Like, why are you doing that? It's not even a full game. It doesn't have XYZ. It's still missing 25 of the 26 letters of the alphabet, pretty much, right?" I can admit that I shit all over it, right?
Yeah.
Finally, the game's coming out, and it's actually good. It's. I see why you like it, but I bought a game that was pretty much in the same aspect. I bought Sea of Thieves for the Xbox One and Windows 10. Now, this is the game that's made by Rare. Rare is a very good studio.
No, it's not.
A good studio.
It's not.
It
is. I like it.
I mean, it was a good studio.
It still is. This game is great. I'm enjoying it, but it falls in the same boat as Street Fighter 5. Where's the rest of it?
So I all I've heard is like good things from the game. Like I haven't seen any gameplay except for like a couple of clips. So you'll have to like educate me as to like what's going on with that.
Well, pretty much, you have there's 3 things to do in the game. 1, go get chickens, or go get bananas or pigs for one faction. It's a fetch quest game. Second faction.
That sounds fun as fuck.
Is go fight skeletons and get their heads and then bring them back. And the third one is to go to islands and find treasure chests to dig them up and bring them back. All it is that's 3 things. And sail around to different islands, fight skeletons. Those are the only bad guys in the game. Maybe you come across a kraken who tries to sink your ship, or you come across other pirates trying to steal your shit, which is other players. That's it. That's all the game is. And as simple and as stupid as just 3 fetch quests, I've been having a hell of a time playing it.
Huh. So I'm not one.
You did not make a good case for it though.
No, I didn't.
I think that's your point though. I think that's your point because like I was in the same situation with Street Fighter where like I liked the game even though it was bare bones. I knew what I was getting when I first bought it.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they supposed to be adding to it?
So in the month of May, or in the next little bit here, they're adding in the soulful depths, which is sunken ships that are in the water will have mermaids, so there'll be new bad guys. They're adding in new boat sizes. So in reality, this game isn't meant to be played by yourself. All right, you can play it by yourself. It's not as fun. I've been playing it.
I don't know, man. I've played with myself, and it's pretty fun.
Well, a little rub and tug is great and all, but in this game, it's a little different. I mean, I've been playing with a fellow console explosion member, Black Ace, fellow console explosion member, Indiana Jones, fellow console explosion alumni, Irish Spuds, and then myself, and then a couple other people. But you can get into groups of 4, and you can ride it and control a galleon and go do this as a group. It's fun. It's a great game.
It's not on Steam, right? Though, is it?
It's not on Steam. It's Windows only. Windows 10 only.
You got it on PC?
I got it on PC, but if you get the PC version, you get the Xbox One version as well. And if you get the Xbox One version, you get the PC version as well. So 2 games for the price of one, you really can't shake a stick at. But the thing is what I'm getting at is, yeah, it's a bare bones game. And it's like, I don't understand how I'm having such a good time with it. But now I see where you were coming from with Street Fighter V, right? But again, they're adding in more boats so that you can control more. They're adding in a man of war ship, which is an 8-person vessel. They're adding in like a Moby Dick. They're adding in more merchants, and they're adding in a lot more in that sense, which is great. But it just felt weird as I'm playing this and realizing I've been shitting all over Street Fighter V for coming out with a half-assed game, and yet this one feels half-assed. But yet the graphics are amazing. This is the best looking water in a game I've ever seen ever. And then I understand the graphics, the backgrounds in Street Fighter V, same thing. Played on the PlayStation 4. Those are some of the greatest graphics I've seen for, in that fighting genre. So.
Yeah, plus like the gameplay mechanics of the game were pretty solid. Like it's hard to explain that if you're not super good at the game. I had another point I want to get on. I don't want to get too far from it, but like you made me think about this because from your point of view, I get it. So again, I knew what I was getting into when I paid the $60 for my game. Was it worth $60? That's something completely different. Probably, in my opinion, no. And we talked about this a couple of times. This idea of multiple times that the idea of basically what these AAA studios are doing is releasing early access games at full price, and then charging for DLC. That's the issue that I kind of struggle with, which is why I don't tend to buy like the DLC for Street. Like I haven't spent a single dollar on DLC for Street Fighter because I don't like to pay for DLC. And granted, I will say a friend just bought me Season 3 pass for the characters, so I have like Blanca and Sakura and Falk that just came out. So that's kind of cool. I appreciate that. But like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too far off from the topic, but I think that's really interesting because it's in some ways it's really a good idea to release a game bare bones because that gives players an opportunity to get a feel for the game and play the base mechanics of the game, and also slowly release out content. Now, I don't know if Sea of Thieves is going to charge for the content, but I think like League of Legends is a good example of this. Granted, it's a multiplayer versus game. It's a competitive match, but just stick with me because I think it also applies to other games. The most popular games nowadays are competitive anyway. This idea of releasing the game, letting you get used to a small amount of characters and slowly releasing more and more content on a consistent basis. Like Street Fighter has a pretty consistent basis. League of Legends has like consistent content. It allows you to get this sense of like getting the most out of the content that you have, but always having more that is coming, and having the developers be able to balance the game, make it more fair, make it more satisfying. I think that also Capcom is on the end of like cash grabbing though. Like a lot of developers like Activision and Ubisoft, they're charging for their DLC a lot. Granted, I have paid in-game money for the characters that I do have in Street Fighter. So that's kind of like the point that I want to make. Because it's good that you're understanding where I came from. But at the same time, I'm curious to know like how the life cycle of this game is going to go.
Well, that's the other thing. It's like so far they've been saying it's going to be released free. But then another game that's come out that's a full game release, kind of bare bones, but yet the updates have been amazing, which is the Friday the 13th game. Every update in that game has been free, except for a couple 2 skins or something and some emotes. But a lot of that, there's free stuff, there's some buy stuff, there's some paid stuff.
Yeah.
But like the maps, certain characters, they're giving those for free. They're keeping the community alive and energetic really with this stuff. Sea of Thieves is probably going to be the same thing they've been saying. But one thing, like I'll ask Antonio, I mean, him and I and Tyler and you, and we bought Overwatch pretty much near the beginning of launch.
Oh yeah.
It's not at launch. Was that a done game?
Yes.
Or is it following the same aspect of a half-done game with only a little bit of the stuff, and now as we're moving forward, they're finally getting it right?
No, really. To be honest, I think it's just adding to it, but the core game is the same.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
think
in that case, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not sure that Overwatch is is the best example for that. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just that
I'm looking at like how many times it's been like balanced to the point where they've absolutely nerfed a character out of existence. Mercy in competitive. They've
but that's just
like, I mean, the new
normal,
things that are coming,
normal stuff out of competitive games. So I don't know if that's true because the modes are the same. They've added a couple of things here and there, but in itself, they've not added too much. Of course, new characters and maps, but that's per course for competitive games, right? It's not out of the normal. Like for Street Fighter, I think it's different because it came out like with no story mode, for instance, stuff like that. That it used to be normal for fighting games, and I don't know that Overwatch is.
That's a first-person shooter. Look at Call of Duty.
No, but it's a competitive game, not first and foremost. Yeah.
This is what I'll say. I think that the developers of Overwatch did a good job of making people feel like they got their money's worth on day one purchase. But they continued to update the game and give you more content. Whereas, and this is something I can admit openly, and this is something that I said probably on stream, is that Street Fighter was less than a complete game on purchase. So I don't think Street Fighter on day one was worth $60, whereas Overwatch, you could pay that full price and feel like you got your money's worth, but they're developing more DLC for it. So I think that, in my opinion, Overwatch did it better. Like if we were to compare the two and ask which one did it better, I think Overwatch, I would definitely, as a casual player, like same from a casual perspective, because as a hardcore player, as a competitive Street Fighter player, I bought it because I didn't want to get players to get a leg up on me. Like that was my main intention of, I don't want these players to have more than a leg up than they already have skill wise. Whereas Overwatch, I feel like as a casual player, it was worth the $60. There was like a good number of characters, a good number of online content. The multiplayer was pretty fun. And granted, there was no single player, but I think they did a good job of being open about that. Street Fighter did also do a good job of being open about that, but still casual players don't always do their research. So yeah, I definitely think that Overwatch did it better if you could compare the two.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So let's
in any case, Ready Player One, has any one of you seen them?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that's new to me. What is this?
So who all has seen Ready Player One, the movie?
Oh,
What?
I did.
I saw
Tyler?
it.
Okay.
Yes, I saw it and I very much enjoyed it.
Okay.
Better than that other movie. What's it called? Black Hawk, Pink Panther, something along those lines.
What? You compare random movies now?
Okay.
Ready Player One compared to the sequel to Pink Panther.
Oh my goodness. With Beyonce.
But yeah, but Ready Player One, very much enjoyed the film more than I thought I would. I'm going to eventually read the book eventually.
Oh yeah, I'll get into that in a second. So
Yeah,
I guess we'll start with you, Tyler. Like, why did you like the movie? What did you like about it?
Well, at first I was told it's basically a huge web film, and I'm like, was that the right word, reference?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I was always a huge reference fan. I've been told it's not that great a film. It's made for nerds and whatnot. But I watched it and I was like, hey, this is not too bad a film. It feels like the book knew the future somehow.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I know, but I just really enjoy that all these people are living this virtual reality, but ignoring the real life responsibilities.
Well, here's the thing, Tyler. I think for us that read the book,
yes,
we'll understand that exactly what you're saying is it's actually one of my biggest gripes with the movie compared to the book. Is that the book, it's really clear. They make it really clear, and I think they should have made this in the movie, that the Oasis is meant to be for everything, not only gaming, which I believe in the movie is just mostly for gaming stuff, right? Just people spend a lot of money on it because for some reason they give them status and just like being better in the real world. But in the book, and it's again it's something that I feel it should have been added to the movie. It's very clear that, like for instance, when they go to school in the Oasis.
Yes,
Why?
that's actually what I've been told. Actually,
Yeah, because they don't make it as clear as well. Because in the future, in the book, the economy is so bad, and that's why they live on the stacks, right? Because
did you say you read the book?
yeah.
Okay, good. All right, cool. Carry on. Sorry.
Saying, right? That's one of the biggest gripes I have between the movie and the book is that the way they portrayed the Oasis is in the movie is mostly because they portrayed it as a MMO, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
It's gaming more, not like people go to the bank, for instance. There they go to to school. They make
there's a whole
everything
economic system within the Oasis that basically is worth more than in life currency, or translates to in life currency.
Yeah, and it's that way because the economy is so bad that people they can't build more schools, for instance, right? It's just they don't have money for that. They don't have, it's easier for you to not have a car and just put yourself out and you go to wherever you want to go that way, right? And that makes a lot of sense in terms of how everyone was using it. Comparing it to just a very very fun and very big MMO. Yeah, I mean, why would everyone be there, right? It's just it's weird that they didn't,
because that place is really, really fun and anyone can enjoy it.
Yeah, but it, a lot of things are really fun and easy to enjoy, but not everyone will be into it. Like in this world, in this book, and this movie, supposedly everyone, right? It's inside there. I mean, they have to get there, but they don't give. I don't think they give the incentive that the book does. Right? The book is just you have to have it because that's the way everything's done now. Now everything is done in the Oasis, so
yeah,
that's why everyone is in there. And I don't know why they skipped that. I feel weird that they did that. I don't know why.
What about you, Jared?
Well, I never read the book. The movie was the first forte into this. I know we talked about it before. I find this movie to be again a slap in the face to anime. The first one I'll talk about is the fact that Battle Royale, the book and the movie, came out years ago, and then they make a thing called whatever the fucking thing with the Mockingbird or Catching Fire. Those books.
You're talking about Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games. And the woman talks about how she just came up with the idea one day of putting kids into fighting each other and killing each other off. No, anything like that. But yet, Battle Royale came out so far before and has been such an influence to a lot of that, not to give, not to even acknowledge it's kind of a slap in the face. I feel Ready Player One owes a lot of its idea and its praise to Sword Art Online.
I think the book came out before that, though.
Book came out in 2011. Sword Art Online came out in 2009.
Oh, is it?
Well, I don't want to stop your explanation, but I will say that Sword Art Online owes a lot to Daihak Sign if we're going to get into some
exactly
like that. So.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying, right? Each one, but Sword Art Online has acknowledged it in sort of in their mangas as well as in some of the games. There's that, the creator has said that as well. So there is that. That's what I'm getting at. This though kind of feels like it felt like season 1 of Sword Art Online.
The movie?
The Ready Player One felt like season 1 of Sword Art Online.
I agree. I think it has a lot of it. A lot of it.
Yeah, think about it. That's so true. I know that
without
not
people dying. That was the only difference. People just lost everything they had in the game.
Someone else has said that too. Someone else said that in the movie theater. I heard a kid mention that or somebody saying it's just like Sword Art Online where you can't die. Or where you don't die if your character dies. So I read the book, or I listened to the audiobook, which was voiced by Will Wheaton. Sorry. I feel like that's the right name. Wesley Crusher, the guy that played Wesley Crusher in Star Trek.
Will Wheaton.
Okay, thank you. So that was great. I don't like to compare, but it was really hard to not do that. I definitely enjoyed the book so much more. That said, trying to just watch the movie as just the movie, I definitely get what you're saying, and that I wouldn't say it's a slap in the face, but it definitely does feel like Sword Art Online if you haven't watched that or Dot Hack. I also feel like, I mean, and it's so hard to not pull up the book, but I don't, I feel like it was kind of rushed, and they definitely changed like a lot of the movie compared to the book, so it's really hard to compare the two in certain ways. But there's a certain like plot holes or things that just didn't make sense to me. I think the movie was good, especially if you didn't read or listen to the book. So if you're thinking about listening to the book and seeing the movie, do the movie first, because that's definitely going to be better. That's just, talking to the viewers, because obviously you guys have already seen the movie.
Yes.
But like, there's small things like when Artemis, the girl that gets captured and goes to the IOI, what do they call them in the movie? The oologist, where basically she's captured and she has to do like slave work, and she's in that little pod. Like, there's small things like that where I don't understand why they would have like the escape hatch system inside of the actual pod. Like, what? Why? Like, you're making them do like, in basically what is the word? It's like something slavery, where they're getting paid, but they're also forced to do the work. Well, like, why would you have the escape system built into the inside of the actual thing?
Well, here's the thing: what if an employee got stuck in there?
Well, those aren't all employees.
I do have employees at the place where the slaves at.
But you saw how the employees were actually working. Their systems were different.
Yeah, I'm just saying, what if some higher up say, hey, I need you to get this person, and this person tricks them and slams the door on them? Maybe they have that little thing that opens up just in case that happens.
I like the way you think. I don't know. I think from like a realistic standpoint, it's not bad to have that, but I think it felt like a plot device in the movie to me. Yeah, I don't think the movie was bad. I think it was really enjoyable, and like it had tons of references, like the holy hand grenade. Mortal
Kombat.
No. Oh, yeah. But I also feel like, as someone, if I'm not just comparing it to the book, but just having read the book and seeing the two source materials, the story was way more fleshed out. It had more time to flesh out the story and the characters and stuff like that. I do like the fact that they kept the I don't know if you would call it a plot twist, but H, one of the characters, they kind of stayed true to that in some fashion, where you think you know what the character would look like, but it winds up being something completely different. I like that, and I felt like that part was definitely really true. Daito and Shoto, or Daito and Sho, I think they called them in the book. Is Daito and Shoto? They're brothers in the game, and I'll leave it at that. But they kind of, huh?
But they're not in real life.
Yeah, I don't think even in the movie they're not brothers in real life, actually.
Oh, okay.
But they stay true to those characters being in it as well. And I almost don't want to talk too much about the book, because there's spoilers that don't exist in the movie that exist in the book if I brought it up. But I just definitely feel like
let's say there's more stakes in the book, because there's main characters die that they don't die on the movie.
Yeah, and there's so many. Well, here's the other thing that bothers me more. Well, on a personal level, it bothers me because I'm an 80s baby. I understand the marketing reasons why they put Tracer and a lot of other references in.
Tracer came out like 4 times. I think it looked bad to me.
I get that, but in the book, there's far more 80s references. There's so many more 80s references, because this book was inspired by Spielberg and other movies from games, war games. That with Matthew Broderick. So many 80s references are in the book, because that's what without giving too much away, because it's also in the movie, the guy that created it, I don't know if you can help me with the name.
Holiday.
I can't think of. Holiday. James Holiday? J-R-J-H? Yeah. He grew up and loving the 80s. And so part of like the training regimen for any gunter, people who would hunt these Easter eggs and try to figure it out, was to understand like everything that Holiday loved, which was everything 80s. Everything based on the 80s. And so there were so many 80s references in it, and they kind of cut a lot of that out, and they also cut out a lot of the hard work that that the main character puts in. Like when the movie starts, the main character already has like a well-established like finance, and that's not so much the case in the book. He doesn't already have like the DeLorean and stuff like that.
Are you talking about in the game or in real life? Because it looks like in real life he was not that well financed at all.
Well, in real life, he worked at Sam's Club.
But now people are going to be.
Well, here's the thing. Like again, without giving too much away, like your financial situation in real life, it kind of can possibly equal your financial situation in the game, and that wasn't the case in the movie. Starting off right away, like he already had his DeLorean, he already had like some pretty good skills, and his character looked really cool. Where in the beginning, when you first meet,
in the book or the movie now,
Wade, in the movie when you first meet Wade, he already has like the DeLorean and all this stuff. In the book, it takes a while to build up to that. Which
I heard he was supposed to be like a little bit overweight in the book at first.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's another thing, is he's supposed to be more overweight, out of shape, acne and stuff like that. And did you have a question, Jared?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Two things. First of all, we're all gamers here, correct?
No,
right?
No,
not at all.
No.
Fuck those people.
When they read out the first clue to the key,
I
had it right. I turned to my wife and I said, "They got to go backwards." And sure enough, that's what it was. Like, how fucking stupid are these people? That was the
Here's
the thing. The minds are not so great in the future. It's been spoiled with all this great technology, and they've been avoiding real life situations.
Well, I consider the book to be Idiocracy, where instead of going like just dumb, they go into VR instead. In the movie, they definitely seem a lot more dumb. But to your point, Jared, in the book, the clues are a lot more obscure, and this seems a lot more challenging.
Yes, so much more. And not only that, because in the book, you had the clues to get the key, but you had the clues to actually get into the gate where to use the key as well.
Yes.
So there's two differences there. I mean, it was very hard because you had to go to two, and the two were very obscure. And to your point, Jared, I agree 100%. I mean, someone would have tried to go backwards the first 5 minutes.
Shoot, what if they hit the wrong button like I do sometimes?
No, but someone would try it. Someone would have tried by then.
Wait, it didn't cost anything to go in the race, right?
Someone would have tried it,
I mean, how many times do people try to jump off an edge of a map to see if they'll survive? Especially even in competition in Overwatch, how many people just fuck around just because they can? They would have done it in this thing, and that's what I don't understand. It was so simple. But
they lost their gaming ways. Their mind went rotten in the future.
I don't know. It was the first clue, and then the second clue. I don't remember quite off by heart, but as
I remember in the movie,
loved one not to be spoken about. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, it was it was a little easy to figure out. Especially if you were able to go into the guy's memories at all time. I mean, we've seen people be able to go into shit in like source code of games. They spend days and hours and fucking years in that stuff, and yet you're in the mind of a guy. You can get all his memories. There would have been people all over the place getting that. Nothing is locked away forever, especially in the gaming world. You put Easter eggs in a game, they're gonna get found within the first couple of weeks of release.
Yeah. Can I say
but not always. The whole Batman, I forgot which Batman game it was. People didn't find that secret till like months later, thanks to the developer telling them what it was.
What's that?
There was a Batman game where there was a secret in the game that no one found. It wasn't until a developer said something about it.
Yes, exactly. But that's exactly what happened in this. Is there's a secret in the game. The developer said there's a secret. You guys got to find it. Here's what it is. And then people went looking for it, and look, they found it. And how long after that was announced? That's what I'm saying. Is at some point people would have found this crap out a hell of a lot faster.
Oh yeah, and this is the thing as well. In the book, in the movie, they already figure out that the race was the first key, right?
Yes.
In the book, no one had any idea of anything, right? You don't even know where the first key was.
Yeah, there
right?
was like no clue or anything.
Yeah, they just didn't know what the hell where to find it. I mean, they tried, and the clues were much more
Obscure.
cryptic. Yeah. So this is something that I agree with you 100%. I mean, the idea, because in the book, and this is something as well that I personally didn't like about the book, is just how many conveniences it had. In the book, the first when they go to the first key, they have to beat in a game of Joust, the arcade game.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I actually heard about that.
Yeah, but the thing is that in the book, he goes, well, luckily, last summer I was practicing for 10 hours, so I know how to play this. So it's like, it had a lot of conveniences of that. But at least, again, going into that, I understand that, it makes it much more harder, right? Because if the movie would have opened with Joust as well, and no one would have beaten this guy in Joust, I would have been like, bullshit, someone would have at this point as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think they should have started with, instead of the whole going backwards thing, people just didn't know where it was, right?
Yeah.
And
not only that,
well, they wanted to have a big spectacle at first with the race and having the T-Rex and fucking King Kong and the spectacle, right? That's probably why they did it.
And speaking of which, how come none of these cars had guns? I mean, you could have any vehicle you want that in this world, and nobody had any vehicle from Twisted Metal.
Oh, I
Well,
was thinking of that.
H had like a lot of saw blades and stuff like that, right?
I would have Minion from
Sweet Tooth,
from Twisted
actually.
Metal 2.
Oh,
A
Minion.
fucking tank with that shoe.
Yeah. Oh my
Holding the-
god.
King Kong wouldn't have shit on me. All right.
Oh, he probably
Driven
will.
by Denzel Washington.
I was
I
actually
appreciate
thinking
that
of Sweet
reference.
Tooth. They should have had Sweet Tooth instead of Minion, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, also here's another thing is that like they swapped out a lot of references because they had like old school anime references that they were well, not Beta Man.
Like Akira?
They had an Akira reference in the book.
Okay. I haven't
They
seen that film.
Oh, Jesus Christ. They had like the Iron Giant.
I love Iron Giant.
Like he was just referenced, but he wasn't like one of the main robots. They had
He was at the end.
I have a problem with the Iron Giant as well. Can I say that?
No,
Yeah,
you can't.
where was
No, you
Vin
can't. It's
Diesel?
perfect the way it is.
No. I'm saying about the in the movie, because the movie, the Iron Giant is supposed to be an analogy of how the robot itself had to contain itself to be peaceful, right? And now you have it here just fucking shooting everyone, right? I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
I understand it's a vehicle only, but I don't know. I just felt like
They could have used a different robot,
They
right?
could have used a different robot. Yeah. Why is the Iron?
He's being controlled, though. He's being controlled.
No.
Yeah,
he's
granted,
not-
it was a
he's-
recreation. It was a
If you
recreation.
Yeah, but why? You know what I'm saying? It goes against everything the Iron. A true nerd would never have to use the Iron Giant, right? Because they would have said no.
This
He's
team
supposed
wants
to
to
be for peace than for war. So all I'm
There
saying is I have a little bit of a trouble with that.
Yeah, I agree because there's so many other giant robots they could have used.
Yeah.
Other
No,
than, like
but
they could have just put in any other commission because it was a commission, is what it was, and he wound up using it himself, or I'll just say he wound up using it himself, and then you could have put anybody else in there. But go on, Tyler. What were you saying?
But here's the thing: you've seen the Iron Giant film, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the movie many times. The Iron Giant always want to do good. But here's the thing: he in the movie in Iron Giant, when he sees like a gun or a weapon, he had that crazy look at him that something's activating as a threat. So when they use Iron Giant, you could see that he's being attacked now, and now he's helping people
Who have guns and who are shooting.
Yes.
Kind of defeats the purpose.
No, but it's like they're shooting at him, so he's going to shoot back.
That's how he have guns.
I think from a logical standpoint, there are other giant mechs that have better war capabilities than the Iron Giant, though.
Well,
I will say he was
not capabilities, but you know,
reasoning.
The reasoning,
Ed
yeah.
209.
I don't know. I just
Like,
feel
where's
like
Ed 209?
Yeah.
He should have been in there. Or Johnny 5. I would even accept a Johnny 5.
Messenger C. Come on, that's a better problem.
No,
Giant
I
robot that
think
they use
Iron
in the
Giant
book.
is fine in here.
What did Daito use in the book? I'm trying to remember.
I don't recall. Do you think he used Gundam as well?
No, it was
No?
something else. Are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, it was
you have
something else.
Gundams, you have Voltron, you have the Power Ranger, anything from Power Rangers,
It
like
was something inspired, something that inspired the Power Rangers. It was like Betamax or Betaman or
Oh yeah, and I was
Gotcha
not,
Man.
wasn't it?
Ultraman. Was it Ultraman?
Ultraman. Yeah, that Ultraman.
It
That's
was.
correct.
Oh, he wasn't even a robot. He was actually like a giant dude. Well, I don't know if it
he's a
was
giant dude, yeah.
He becomes just like the Power Rangers, right? Is because they're based on that. So
Yeah,
he becomes big. That's
Ultraman and like one other like Japanese TV show. Yeah. So that was, I mean, again, I get why they didn't, because it's such an obscure reference to like pop culture compared to like people who would probably read the book. But it's still just like,
I think they made the right choice.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit.
I like the Gundam thing.
The Gundam was cool.
But if you compare it to the book, there's no stakes there, and it's just like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There were some similar beats like that grenade and the coin and stuff like that were pretty cool to see thrown in there. They had a Monty Python reference in the movie, but the Monty Python reference in the book is just so much better. Man, like
I missed that. Which Monty Python reference they make?
The holy hand grenade. I don't remember the exact context of how it plays into Holy Grail.
Oh, yeah, I didn't really like that one that much.
Yeah.
See, but for me, the holy hand grenade is from Worms. Like that's what it is. It's from Worms.
From Worms Armageddon, right?
Yeah, from Worms Armageddon.
Yeah.
That's the holy hand grenade.
I played that on the PC for ages when I was in college.
So I didn't even get the fact that it's a reference from the Holy Grail. I had it straight from from Worms Armageddon. So it didn't even dawn on me for you to mention that.
I honestly didn't know it was a reference.
See, but the thing is the reason why in the book. So in the book, does the guy use Mechagodzilla?
I think I'm trying to
bad
remember
guy.
that, but I think he does.
Because if he does, the reason why that other guy picks Ultraman is because Ultraman faced Godzilla back in the 80s.
I think he does.
And Ultraman joined up with Godzilla to fight Mechagodzilla in the 80s in 2 movies.
Ooh.
So in order for that reference to come across, that makes more sense why Ultraman would be in there and why Mechagodzilla was in there. To me, the Mechagodzilla, it was cool to see, and the fact that they used the music, the Godzilla official music. That was amazing. That put a smile on my face.
Man, some points for those references. I like that.
Hey man, there's some reference in there that I'm like, bing bang 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 bang. My wife is like, "Can you just shut up and watch the movie?" So, it was great. Like, I mean, it would have been cooler if Ultraman was in there compared to fighting a Gundam. But I mean,
again,
it's more
obscure. It's more obscure, so I get why they didn't put it in the movie.
Because I mean, not very many people know Ultraman, faces Godzilla.
I didn't even know that. So I know Ultraman. I never saw like that crossover.
Oh, they dance.
That's crazy. But that makes sense because the whole kaiju thing. Oh my god. I mean, nonetheless, I'm glad the movie is a thing. A lot of people seem happy with it. It was entertaining. Cool. It was entertaining, yes. And I hope that more people get the book, because the book I think is deeper and makes you think a little bit more about society and the direction that we're going in. And then also the author it feels like the author's heart is very much in it, especially from the very beginning. He talks about like his according to Wade, talks about his views on religion and the situation of where the country is. And I definitely think it's a direction that the world can go in. It seems a lot more believable than how the movie portrays it. So I just felt like I got more personal substance from the book. Not trying to compare the two, but I'm really trying to sell the book because I think it's really, really good. I think that more people should check it out, because it took me a long time to actually finally check it out.
I think it's really good, but especially for people like us.
Yes, yes.
Right?
I think 30-year-old nerds.
Because a lot of people will read it that are not like us, and will be like, I don't know, dude. I don't know if I'm liking this book. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing, though. I did not know it came out in 2011. The book.
Yeah, I read it in 2012. Actually,
I literally thought it came out in late 80s. To be honest,
that's what I thought so too. But no,
no. That's why I said this movie knew the future pretty well. No,
Yeah.
so now I can say I was totally wrong. I still done research.
For myself, I never I think being a fan of the 80s, growing up in the 80s, this movie was great. If you don't know a lot of 80s pop culture, because I mean, I've talked to people who are like, I've never seen Back to the Future before. I don't know this. I don't know that.
How can you not know about Back to the Future?
It's those type of things where it makes me think we failed our next generation. But
you know what's funny? Since we're speaking about Back to the Future, I forgot what was wrong with our house. Something was broken, and apparently, the guy who came to fix something, he had used a capacitor or something. And my mom made a joke saying, so what you use, a flux capacitor? They're like, nope. And he mentioned something like, I bet you kids wouldn't know. And my mom looked at him like, you have no clue. You know the flux capacitor.
But no, I think it's one of those movies for our generation is great. For the older generations are great. I don't quite know about the newer generations. I know that's why they put in people like Tracer and
even Ryu was in there.
Ryu, Chun-Li.
Yeah. Even me, a fan of Overwatch, I thought it would have been great if it was like one appearance, right? Just like, oh, there you go, Tracer. Okay, there you go. But she appeared like 3 times, 4 times. It's like, okay, dude, we get it. They pay for that. Come on.
Overwatch, and the other thing that Blizzard money.
Yeah. The other thing is I want to know, like, if you could be anything and you're this big company who controls all, why wouldn't you control some of the most powerful characters in pop culture instead of just being generic soldiers? Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't like the style that they chose for how the IOI soldiers look too.
Oh, okay.
I'll just say that because they look different in the book.
They look different in your head?
No. Yeah, do they have pictures in the book?
No, they explain it in detail how they look. And it's
to me,
not like robots.
I know, but like to me, it's like it was just like walking into the Avengers. They were just generic bad guys. They're Hail Hydra. Like that's all it was, but you own this big conglomerate. I would be having fucking, here's M. Bison, here's Fulgore, here's the Predator, here's the Queen Alien, here's fucking Ed 209, here, that would be my lineup of where my generals are. And this guy who runs the business has no other people with him in order to control this. Every bad guy has his little circle of enemies. They had, and Bison has Bullrog, Vega, and Sagat. And Mortal Kombat, he had his Sindels, his Goros, his Mataros, right? Like, how come this one guy, it was like, here's Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, I'm scared, right? Like, it just wasn't. He didn't feel like a bad guy. He just he felt like I wasn't scared of the IOI. I wasn't like they just seemed incompetent.
Well, he's a businessman. He doesn't care about nerd culture.
But you would hire people to be your circle who are those nerds, who are those strategic people who would be looking after. He had that one girl.
They tried to do that. It looks like they tried to do that in the movie where they had the meeting room with all the people, the oologists is what they call them, and I can kind of see where you're coming from, where he didn't seem as imposing as he should have. I thought it was funny how what is IROC? That guy was a big part of the movie. That was surprising. Yeah, in the book too.
He's an evil villain who can get you stuff, right?
Like, yeah, he has a skull in his chest.
Oh yeah,
it was an interesting. I actually liked that villain more than I thought I would.
He was kind of amusing. I mean,
but he was also pretty powerful in some ways.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, why wouldn't you have all this lineup of these type of guys with you, destroying other people who are getting, higher money. If the whole idea is to make sure people don't get enough money to find these relics, well, that's what you're going to be doing, is popping off the main competition. In my opinion, if I had that, I'd get Boba Fett to go kill this guy that's, working up the ranks in real life or the game. That's just me. I'm a fucking evil genius. So Ready Player 2, I'll be the guy.
My girlfriend pointed out something that like was kind of a plot hole. Like in the beginning of the movie, near the beginning of the movie, they use the drones to blow up the stacks and everything, right? But when they're chasing the kids, all of a sudden those drones that have like high explosives all over the place are like nowhere to be seen. But they knew where the van was at one point. Instead of like actually going in there and just blowing it up, they like opened the door a bunch of times and like. Why didn't you just use the drones to blow the shit up or something? Like what happened to? Did you blow your whole load of drones on the stacks, or did you forget about it? Like what happened? That was also
everyone was in the Oasis. They couldn't control the drones.
No, this was the real world. The reason for that is, here's the answer for that plot hole. Their Amazon Prime account ran out.
Oh, they did up the price recently, so that might be why.
That could have been why they couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna up the price a little bit later, not right now.
Yeah, actually, you are correct. In IRL, they are going to be upping the price of Amazon Prime just so that viewers do know.
But
like that, not a in-game thing, but a real life thing.
But anyways, if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. If you haven't read the book, read the book. Will I read the book? Maybe. And at one point when I do read the book, we'll talk about it.
Get the audiobook. I'm telling you. It's Will Wheaton. It's really well done. I mean, if you prefer the read, but if you're short on time or you travel a lot, that's what I recommend. That way you can still listen to it. It's really, really entertaining. But see the movie first if you're going to see.
And he has another book, but I don't know if I found it that I read it as well. It's called Armada. And it's I mean it's entertaining. It's not Ready Player One, but it's entertaining. I if you like Ready Player One, I would suggest you check that out. Although I will still say it's not as good, it's still entertaining if that's something you would like to do.
Yeah. Again, if you want to see something better than Ready Player One, first half season of Sword Art Online. Then skip the second half, and then watch the third or the second season of Sword Art Online. There's some good stuff there.
Well, I was actually skipped the second half of Sword Art Online season 2.
That's what. Oh, well, either one, whatever one when they're furious.
The first part of second season, the first part of second season of Sword Art Online, I enjoyed very much. But when they go back to the fairy world, I'm like, I don't really care.
Yeah, when they're in the gun world, it was good. When they're in the medieval world, it was awesome.
This will be the main focus. I really, really did, but no.
Nonetheless, those were far more superior to, in my view, than Ready Player One. But if you like the '80s nostalgia and the '80s kick, then that's right up your alley.
Or
I just felt there was no reason. There was no consequence to losing.
Yeah.
Well,
there was a little bit, right?
You lose your finances in a game. So what? You just start again. You start from the beginning. We've all been there in certain games. But I mean, compared to Sword Art Online, where you die in the game, you die in real life.
Oh, well, I think in the movie they're trying to convey that they didn't want the IOI to get it. The Sixers. What do they call them in the movie? They didn't want the bad guys to get it because
they do call them the Sixers in the movie.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so that's basically what they wanted.
And still, IOI, I think it's stupid because, again, it was just a bad guy company with no real bad guy. Misopportuned leadership, missed opportunity. Like, oh, we're gonna put ads and everything and all this shit, and it's like,
I thought that was amusing, actually.
It's
a malware virus.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it was. And it's like, people just install pop-up blockers. Like, we did that in the internet. We'll do it in VR.
Yeah.
That's just funny.
There you go. They go, we're going to do this before they have a seizure. And then they go and install ad blocker. Movie
exactly. And then it's done. The other thing, and I'm very kind of pissed off, if they're going to use new type of stuff, like Tracer, Reaper, Ryu, and all that. There's one reference they forgot to do that was very, like, 100% entwined with this. There was no "show me the way."
Oh, well,
Do you know the way?
it's a bit too late to. I think it's a bit too late to add that in.
Yeah, you just had to have just one of those walk past in the background and say, "Do you know the way?"
So,
You know the way.
The VR is going to, that's exactly what the VR in that would be in 2045 is going to be no different than it is right now in 2018.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of they missed a lot of memes that should have been there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree 100%.
Well, I would say one thing that pissed me off, and this is actually we're doing spoilers, right?
Yeah.
At the it's like the very end of the film where everything is okay. I actually got kind of pissed at where they closed the Oasis on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh yeah, that's pretty. I don't think that was in the movie either.
It was in the movie. They said
in the book.
Yeah, it wasn't in the book.
I was like, we're gonna close the Oasis on Tuesday and Thursdays so people can go out in the world. And when I heard that, I was like, "F you." What if I'm off on those days and I want to go Oasis?
It makes no sense.
Exactly.
Screw you.
And not only that, where is the competition? Because that right there would open the doors for a competitor to come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Right? Someone would start developing their own. Yeah, they don't have the genius of this guy, but fuck it. People like Oasis so much, they're going to go to this other product. I mean, that's how Xbox happened, right?
Xbox, and wasn't there like a World of Warcraft server that went back to its classic roots, but it got shut down by Blizzard,
and now it's back because Blizzard allowed it to come back. But that's what I'm saying. They would have all this offset stuff, and that would just open the doors. And by the way, how did the Oasis make money?
In the movie, I'm not sure.
How is it worth $1 trillion?
I can explain it in book logic, but in movie logic, I'm not sure.
Ads.
There was no ads. Like I couldn't figure out how this guy was worth $1 trillion in something that was making no money, nobody paid subscriptions for.
Again, if everything is done in the Oasis, like every transaction and all that would have a small percentage could have gone to that.
And that would have been its own currency, almost like Bitcoin. So therefore, that's what would have ran that. I understand that. But exactly like you were saying before, they had nothing like that in the movie. So to me, that was a big part. I mean, I've been in business and economics and business for fucking 20 years. And I'm like, there's no business model for this.
So in the movie or in the book, one of the big things is that his friend, Faraday, is that his name?
Yeah.
His friend basically helps with that situation before he leaves the organization. He finds ways to monetize the Oasis, but also a lot of the transactions are like you can do pretty much any transaction in Oasis. So you can buy your in-game clothes, you can buy everything. Oh, in the movie they make Oasis seem like an MMO. In the book, it's like the internet. It's like they even have a specific line where they say that at one point the Oasis and the internet become synonymous because you can literally do everything on the Oasis. And so that's kind of the way that because Holiday built this virtual world where you can do literally anything, school, shopping, competition, you can get jobs for people in the Oasis. Like that's where a lot of that money comes from. And obviously they don't get into the specifics, but you just slap on a 5% fee for every transaction, and pretty much 90% of the people in America or wherever are using it, or in the world are using it, you can easily tally up a bunch of money. So that's how I explain it.
And another question, how in the hell do these people have really good internet, especially when all these fucking people are on the same goddamn internet? I live in the sticks. I have 1 megabyte download and fucking 0.5 kbs upload, and yet these people live in all these those stacks, and they're be able to go in virtual reality and have no lag. I call that unrealistic.
Future, Jared.
Unrealistic. Future.
In the
Sprint.
future,
Sprint.
everyone has good internet.
I think they actually have a few lines where they explain that, but I can't remember specifically. But I'm almost sure they go into detail about that. And they also explain that, like, well, another thing is that the guy it doesn't take place originally in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. He like, there's a point where he gets there, but like he's somewhere else that's not Ohio.
He starts, different, yeah.
But is it all Wi-Fi? Because I didn't see anything plugged in.
I want to say they explain that, but I don't remember the specifics.
Let's go with
of it.
Wi-Fi. It's a lot simpler. Wi-Fi. That's the answer.
Wi-Fi. Yeah, give me a Wi-Fi that you can play VR in the middle of Ohio.
Hey, it's possible. I can do VR through my phone, through my computer.
I want to punch you. I just want to punch your
I'm
wolf.
just pointing that out. I can play VR through my computer to my phone.
Then you play VR. You go outside. You walk 3 blocks down the road, and you put in your VR, and you let me see how that. You stream it. Okay.
Well, then I'm gonna be needing a couple of filming equipment for that to work.
Well, also optic fiber is probably more prevalent in the future as well.
But nothing was plugged in.
Well, they're using the cloud.
Using the cloud. In the future, the cloud owns all. See, there's just too many plot holes in this movie. Too many plot holes in this movie. At least the Matrix made sense. They jammed in your goddamn brain.
Oh, I never saw the Matrix though.
I hate you more.
What?
I saw the anime Matrix.
See, and this is the reason why our society falls apart.
So
Every
you
time
guys need to see
drops a bomb like that.
I'm not surprised anymore. I'm just like desensitized to it whenever he does that. I'm like,
So
okay.
I've never seen the Matrix. What the fuck is that all about?
I mean, I saw the anime on Adult Swim a long time ago.
No, Jared, not the same thing. Or Tyler, not the same thing.
Wait, hey, don't pull me in.
Oh, you know what my favorite character from the whole Ready Player One was? That furry from that dance club.
I don't remember the furry from the dance club.
You know, she wanted to get a selfie with
Wade.
What's his name? And he's
Parzival.
Huh?
Parzival?
That's his name. Well, yeah, she got a selfie of the guy who discovered the key, and she ends up sending it to the bad guy, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
That's your favorite character?
Yes.
Traitor? A bloody traitor?
Yes, because she's a furry. Furries are awesome.
You should follow Sonic Fox then. He posts weird shit all the time on Twitter.
Oh, I post weird shit too now on Twitter.
All right then. Yeah. But anywho, you guys need to see the Avengers so that we can talk about that sometime soon.
I was supposed to go see it.
I was supposed to see it tonight.
I was supposed to go see it today and tomorrow, but that's not going to happen, sadly.
Clearly.
I was supposed to see it tonight, and then I went to the circus instead.
Well, I'm guessing your kids went with you. That's
still exist?
Yeah,
In
it was
Canada?
a non-animal circus. It was the Great Benjamins. They're from Mexico. That's why I thought maybe you're related.
That's why maybe we are related.
I thought maybe you know them. You know the Benjamin Circus.
Oh yeah, because
it is acrobats are Mexico's greatest export, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess.
Every second kid is constricted to the circus in Mexico.
Antonio's
One kid. Oh, your second kid, he was going to be an acrobat.
Yeah.
Antonio's like upper class though. He's wearing like a Lacoste shirt.
Yeah.
Lacoste. How do you pronounce that?
My Lacoste shirt.
Lacoste. I never know how to pronounce that. It's yeah. It's an alligator. Yeah. Anyways,
is it an American company?
Lacoste? I don't know. Is it? I think it's French actually.
Because there's a lot in it.
No, because it is French.
I don't think so.
Check it out. Look for
not
it.
English. I'll say that. But hurry up and watch Avengers, guys. Jesus.
Oh, well, I'm gonna be busy the next couple of days.
I don't care. I want to.
Well, you should. It deals with my dad.
Oh dang. Okay, I do care. I'm sorry.
Wow, Tavian, way to really be mean. Guy wants to bury his dad. You're like, no.
Yeah, that's gonna be on Tuesday.
Go watch Avengers.
All right, he has a pass.
It's what your dad would want.
You two don't have an excuse though. He has a great reason to not go see the Avengers.
My cat died.
Did it?
No.
Yeah.
Oh my!
What's your cat's name?
Bubbles
How did Bubbles die?
in the water.
Why'd you drown it?
He drowned himself. He couldn't swim.
Okay.
Well,
It's possible.
Sounds like it could have been avoided.
oh Jesus!
He fell in the toilet. What can I
What
say?
movie does that remind me
Well,
of?
actually, I can believe that. My cat drank out of the toilet too.
Oh, you want to hear a funny story? I used to work at when I was a manager at McDonald's. I got a phone call from one of my employees stating that she wasn't coming to work. She was in tears. Her cat died, and I went, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I have cats. I know what it's like." And when they pass away, she's like, "Yeah, I found them in the dryer."
Oh,
How the hell did
She
that?
threw her uniform and clothes in the dryer, and the cat was in the dryer.
Oh
Turned it
God, Jesus!
And I hung up the phone and I burst out laughing. It was the most evil thing I've ever done in my life
Oh God!
because I don't know what to say. Like, I thought
that sounds like a fucking dying giraffe.
oh,
I was like, I want to say you couldn't hear any thumps or meowing.
yeah, it's like
or-
you want to ask questions, but it's like,
Dunk. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But man, that was one hot pussy.
damn. On that note, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Thank you guys, the viewers, for tuning in. I appreciate it, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it uploaded or after the fact. Pre-recorded, post-recorded. Actually, I think I don't know. I don't know what the term is, but it's been a while. But this is the Xplosion live show. Hopefully, if some of these guys watch the Avengers, we can talk about that because that sounds pretty exciting. I saw that. I might go see it again next week. I enjoyed it, but that's all I'm going to say because spoilers and these guys haven't seen it, so can't say any more than that.
So it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I want to watch it again so that like the hype is gone and I can watch it again objectively.
You did not sound that convinced.
What do you mean? What? No, I liked it. I thought it was good.
You sound like it was a good. You said like,
Well,
that's all right. I guess.
I'll just say that in case you guys don't know, I mean, I don't know how you guys don't know this, but you guys or the people watching, there's going to be an Infinity Wars Part 2.
Yes.
So I definitely feel okay. Good.
Spoiler.
Yeah. So it ended well, but it also I'm waiting for Part 2. Is my only not gripe per se, but that's just like I knew that getting into it, so I knew that there was going to be things that were going to be answered in Part 2, like just before I even watched Part 1. So I was just like in my head expecting that. So I'm kind of in this state of I don't want to spoil anything. I'm in a state where I just know that certain things are going to be answered in Part 2 before Part 1. So there's parts of the aspects of this movie that I'm just not attached to until I see Part 2, and then I can kind of judge Part 1 a little bit better, just depending on that whole thing. So I thought it was entertaining. I liked it. There wasn't too many things that I could pick apart about it that were bad, but I want to go back in the second movie and see more of that. But go ahead, Jared.
I would say, so speaking of hype, I mean, you want to go see it without the hype, and it was the Part 2. You knew the Part 2 was coming out.
Yeah.
I know this is going off topic, but the Han Solo movie.
I haven't even seen the trailer.
So I literally just came back from a Star Wars marathon where I watched episode 8 and 9. 8 and 9.
Can you really call that marathon though?
Well, 8, 9, and the Christmas special. So that's
Where'd you get the Christmas special from?
YouTube.
Oh,
No, 7 and 8. I'm sorry, 7 and 8 and the Christmas special. 9's not even out yet. But anyways, the only reason I'm excited for it is because Donald Glover is in it. Outside of that, I'm personal thoughts. I don't know much about the Han Solo guy. I think the saving grace might be the cast, but the guy that plays Han Solo, I'm on the fence about until I actually see the movie. That's my
Harrison Ford did go on set to help him play him.
Okay, I have more confidence then.
So do keep that in mind. Harrison Ford did go and said, "Here's my mannerisms," and taught him how to play him as Harrison Ford to play him as Han Solo, and taught him everything that he did in the original movies to try to have him set up to that. Now, I don't know if Billy D. Williams did the same thing, but that would be cool if he did too.
Right? I wish he was like somewhere in the movie just as a cameo, even though he is Lando Calrissian. But whatever.
Why hasn't he shown up in the new ones? Right? Why is he not in 7 and 8 and 9? Like, he was fighting the Emperor in Part 6. He flew the Millennium Falcon. He blew up the second Death Star, and yet he's not even talked about in any of the other ones.
He died of
cancer.
There can only be one black character per Star Wars movie. Everybody knows that.
And it's that guy from episode 2. What's his face?
Samuel L. Jackson.
There we go.
He was in episode 1 too. You know that, right?
Yeah, I was 100% sure. And 3.
And then he died in 3. And apparently they talk about how his character never died, so they might be making another spin-off of Windu.
Oh, okay.
That's weird. But okay, I'd watch it. Purple
I'd
lightsaber.
watch it.
Oh no, aren't you guys burn out in Star Wars?
No.
I honestly, the way The Last Jedi was, I am kind of very disappointed on this series.
I like The Last Jedi.
See, we never talked about it. We never had the podcast. This is how long it's been since
it's been
we've
a while.
had a podcast.
And
The Last Jedi is one that we should have had because there's a lot of questions I had about that.
Yeah, I just watched it again like today, so it's fresh in my mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions I have.
I still like it watching it a second time after like a half a year or
I like it as a movie, but not as a Star Wars movie, if it makes sense. Because the action was fun, the way it was shot, everything was fun. It's great. It looks fucking fantastic. The music and the sound effects are fucking great. Everything is great except it's a Star Wars movie, right? And they took everything that was set up from the original, from the last movie, and they fucking dumped it in the fucking trash and said, "No, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want with it."
True.
Yeah, it felt like
I was so
a whole different movie, eh?
I was so disappointed.
Well, there was a different writer or director for it too, so that's why.
I don't know. I was really disappointed on that movie.
No, I was actually disappointed about the who's the main character's name?
Finn?
Huh?
Ray.
Well, I was so disappointed with her because they hyped it up saying we don't know the parents, we don't know this, but then I was like, oh yeah, she was abandoned. Yeah, like we know the parents, they abandoned her. That's
and the problem is I wouldn't have an issue with that. The problem is that the movie before that was hyping that out, right?
Yeah.
It was giving you and I,
I mean, I get
so, and then they just go ahead and they shed on everything. And there were sequences there that make no point. The whole casino world made no fucking point. It was for nothing at the end. It didn't advance anything.
That Asian chick some screen time.
It's just, oh my god, dude, I don't know.
Something told me that a fat Asian chick was going to be a huge part in this movie. I didn't really like her that much.
I don't know. I don't care about her that much.
They shoved the love interest at the end.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. The love interest was stupid. The whole thing where they save him, it was just stupid reasoning. I don't know, dude. I was just like, my head was hurting when I came out of the movie theater. And it was like...
See, what would have been the saving grace is if they went to the casino world and the guy they had to find was Lando Calrissian.
Oh, that would have been fucking amazing. Yeah.
See? And then that would have tied in a lot of it and would have been, and then him selling them out and then not selling them out, coming in the end, kind of saving them, kind of, sorry guys, I made this mistake 20 years ago. Sorry, and get them back to where they need to go. That would have been a little bit better. Like, I felt like, what is his name? The character who played him. It was just
Benicio del Toro. I don't know his character's name.
Benicio del Toro. It just felt like a lost opportunity for his character.
Yeah, and they made it so weird as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like it just felt like it was a different movie.
Like, the character was cool, but I'm willing to put into faults. Like, overall I enjoyed the movie, but there were certain parts of the movie that like either were unnecessary or didn't really flesh out the overall storyline. Like, I feel like Finn and the Asian girl didn't really do much of anything on that planet. They accomplished something, I believe.
They rode a cat,
and then they also killed
Brienne.
Brienne.
Shit.
They took out Brienne, possibly. Phasma.
But it was not on the fucking casino world.
That was
No.
after.
The casino world, nothing happened.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about like after what, like the casino world itself. Yeah, nothing happened, and then eventually they got onto that other ship because they got captured or whatever because Del Toro's punk ass bitch. But
question though, when they were riding those cats and busting through shit and running people over, like they're killing all these poor innocent people who are just at the casino to have a good time. Not all those guys are bad guys, and yet they're trampling them.
Just because they're rich doesn't mean they're bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like I thought there's no context.
Well,
and they're killing all these innocent people, and they're supposed to be the good guys. Maybe the Empire is right to eliminate them.
I won't defend them, but the justification that I assume they get out of it is that the Asian girl basically says that they're all war criminals, or not war criminals, but they're all selling arms to the Empire. That's how she addresses it. Like everyone in there is basically doing that, because I remember that like distinctly. Whether that's the case, I don't know. But that's
saying the whole casino of what, there had to be at least 10,000, 30,000 people there, all selling arms to the Empire, and there were people selling arms to the rebels. Like, come on, everybody's dirty in some way. You're selling arms to one person, you're selling arms to the other person.
Wait, we did talk. Did we talk? No. We didn't talk about it. We talked about the first Star Wars movie because I remember Ian was at that one and he had like a bone to pick with the first movie. Yeah. I'm almost blurred them together.
But yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's cut this. We're gonna cut this. We're gonna save this for next week because I think we have a good fight on this one.
We'll talk about this.
But I think we need to cut it.
Yes. So that said, we'll cut it here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. It's been a while, but it's been fun. It's definitely been enjoyable to have these guys back here talk about some nerd stuff that we haven't done in a while. But if you did like this video, make sure you guys leave a comment down below talking about what you thought about the movie Ready Player One. Like, did you guys see it? What do you think about it? Of course, subscribe because we got tons of content on the channel. Great content from some of these guys over here, especially Tyler, who's pumping out the stuff it looks like. And you leave a like. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. But as always, I'm the Philosopher. These guys, you can find them. Actually, I'll let you know where you can find these guys before I go. We'll start with Antonio and then go down the line.
Yeah, you can find me somewhere in YouTube. Locado Retro Reviews. And just check it out.
All right, Jared.
Of course, consoleexplosion.com. Find all our information and find all our videos here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave a comment below. Let us know how you like it. Let us know what you want to hear us talk about. We have a full backlog of podcasts, backlog of videos starring a lot of these guys. We're kind of ramping up to have a new season here with a lot of new stuff. Twitch, we have lots of stuff going on Twitch. If you want to win some free games, we got bunch of free stuff to be given away here. So keep tuned and watch the rest of these guys down below. They have good stuff.
For Tyler, where can I find you?
Yes, you can find me on YouTube, the Video Game Hunter, or Hot Anime 32. They'll both take you to the same channel. And you can follow me on Twitter, VGH32. But please be warned, I do post not safe for work stuff. So if you don't like anime titties or furry dicks, you might want to stay away from my Twitter. and I do tend to draw once in a while. So I do have a demon art page called the Video Game Hunter.
Nice.
Does it have furry dicks in it?
At this time being, no. But if I do, they can't have a boner, apparently.
Oh, well, that makes it so much better.
According to the demon art, you cannot give a male character a boner because that's considered sexual content. They have to be.
Can you give it like a soft boner?
It has to be soft. Apparently, soft is art, but a boner is not.
As always, I'm the Philosopher. You can find me on youtube.com/thephilosopher, PHILOCYPHER, or Twitter @thephilosopher. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That just threw me off. I don't get that. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.
Remember, half chub is art.
Furry dick.